Imagine a hollow space the size of the end of your thumb that holds 9 tendons stacked on top of each other, along with hundreds and hundreds of different nerves. Now imagine that hollow space being pinched or even squeezed. Where do the tendons have room to go, you might ask? Nowhere. You might also be asking what body part I'm talking about. The carpal tunnel, of course. This here is an exact picture of what the carpal tunnel looks like. It's in the area in the wrist that's called the carpal tunnel. It holds several tendons as well as nerves. I've taken piano lessons for over 18 years, including lessons at the collegiate level, and I've also learned much about repetitive stress injuries through research for this speech. Today I will inform you of the benefits of piano warm-ups through warming up the body, playing warm-ups on the piano, and applying warm-ups to the music. Let's start by warming up the body. Warming up the body includes much stretching and moving the joints in your body. As a piano player, your body can be put under tremendous amounts of stress, which can lead to injuries if not properly prepared for. Richard Beauchamp states, someone calculated that it takes the equivalent energy of shoveling 3 tons of coal just to move the keys in Rachmaninoff's Third Concerto. And this does not take into account the emotional and intellectual energy that is also used. A piano player must warm up much like an athlete does because your entire body is used to play the piano. You can do several stretches to help keep your body limber enough to be used for several hours, even at one time in one sitting at the piano. The first thing I like to do is do the fall forward type of stretch, where you just pretend like every vertebrae is an entire link to a chain. And then as you come back up, you roll back up all the way, and then roll all the way back, and bring your shoulders up. The other thing is to stretch from side to side with the arm. This helps to pull the muscles all the way from the back from the arm. And the third stretch that really helps, especially with long periods at the piano, is stretching the arms. And you can even do what they call kind of like a waffle iron type stretch, where you just take you can even do it on your leg. Just stretch out the muscles in the arms with the other arm. As well as trying to stretch out the fingers, just doing plenty of stretches with the fingers, and even and this helps to stretch the muscle in the arm here. You can do that several times repeated, held for about 10 seconds at a time. And then the other way to do it would be to make a fist and go straight down. Now that we've looked at the stretches, let's go ahead and look at the warm-ups on the piano itself. Now that the joints in the body are loose, we can apply it to warming up scales on the piano. A scale includes 7 different notes and can be used effectively to warm up the fingers during piano practice. A scale can be played at many different speeds to improve finger and arm agility. I'm just going to play a basic scale 3 different times, and the thing to listen for is the different speeds. And you always want to start slow and increase the speed, because if you can't play it slow, surely you can't play it fast. Now a little bit faster now that you can play it slow. Once you can play it at that speed, keep practicing until you can get it at that speed. If you can't get it at that speed, do it again. Once you get it perfect at that speed, then you can move up to the next speed. And when playing the scale, it's extremely important to keep a good hand shape and a wrist shape to putting stress on that carpal tunnel in your wrist. When you put stress on the carpal tunnel, it pinches and squeezes those nerves, and which eventually can cause what they call carpal tunnel syndrome. So it's good to keep the wrist flat when you're playing and not up, not arched either, not sagging, not arched. Perfect should be straight across like this with the fingers curved. According to population studies, about 3% or even 9 million people suffer from carpal tunnel syndrome in the United States. Properly stretching the joints and increasing finger and arm agility through the use of warm-ups can be a huge factor in preventing this awful injury. Now let's talk about how this applies to playing actual music on the piano itself. Many of you may be asking what all this has to do with playing a song on the piano. Well, let's take a look at one song right now. We'll look at the chorus of a song. A popular song you might all know right now in the Christian music world, which would be Alpha and Omega, the simple worship chorus. By taking a look at playing this chorus, we can effectively apply what we have learned today about piano warm-ups. One thing to watch for is, even though it's a slow song, the left hand does jump from note to note, and being able to do that effectively by warming up the hands and the arms to move without putting stress on the hand from moving one place to another. I know it's hard to kind of see from that angle, but make sure that the arm is completely flat, the wrist isn't elevated like we just talked about, or sunken in at all. But the wrist is completely straight, the arm and the body, everything is pretty much at a 90-degree angle. Even though I'm standing up today, you would typically be sitting at a piano. You'd want every part of your body should be at a 90-degree angle, all the way down to your feet against the piano. Chris Foley says pianists need to develop a great deal of fluency and play more notes per work than any other instrument. A cellist, a violinist only has to play 1, 2, maybe 3 notes at a time. A pianist may have to play 10 notes or even more. Sometimes the crazier pieces have more than 10 notes. You have to hit several notes per finger. So it's the only instrument that you really use and have to play so many notes that you really need to have agility in your arms and be able to use the entire keyboard, not just the middle, which is what a lot of people are able to do. But to be a true pianist, you need to be able to use the entire keyboard without having to lean and hurt yourself. I mean, it is good to lean, but you don't want to hurt yourself by just reaching out and doing it with a bad arm position, which over years, it's not going to happen immediately. That's the thing that it's good to prevent carpal tunnel, because of having to do repetitive stress can cause injuries in the carpal tunnel. As I have mentioned, millions and millions of people suffer from wrist-related injuries such as carpal tunnel, and many of these are pianists and musicians. In order to prevent a pianist from having a repetitive stress injury, there must be an adequate amount of time spent warming up the body before practice or a performance. I have personally seen the benefits of piano warm-ups, having spent many months in pain from incorrect use of my arms during many long hours of practicing as a piano major when I first started at Lee. Since I've had a specific teacher mentor me in warm-ups and piano and their importance in piano playing, I've had pain-free practice time, and I definitely hope to share these benefits with many of my future students.